Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was recently being interviewed by Martha Raddatz, and he continued to push a conspiracy theory that has already been debunked by our intelligence community. This whole notion that the coronavirus was developed in a Chinese lab. That has been debunked, and he was asked about it. But get a load of how he says two things in a very short period of time.
Believe it was man-made or genetically modified?
Look, the best experts so far seem to think it was man-made. I have no reason to disbelieve that at this point.
Your Office of the DNI says the consensus, the scientific consensus, was not man-made or genetically modified.
That's right. I agree with that. Yeah, I've seen their analysis. I've seen the summary that you saw that was released publicly. I have no reason to doubt that that is accurate at this point.
Okay, so just to be clear, you do not think it was man-made or genetically modified?
I've seen what the intelligence community has said. I have no reason to believe that they've got it wrong. Martha, you have to put this in context. Here's what's important, Martha. Here's what's important. The Chinese Communist Party had the opportunity to prevent all of the calamity that has befallen the world. And here we find ourselves today. You and I were talking about we haven't seen each other physically for a long time. That's true of people all across the world.
So he immediately deflected after he said two conflicting things. First, he disagreed, obviously, with what the DNI has found, which is that, again, that virus was not created in a lab by Chinese scientists. It's not genetically modified. That's how we can tell. And then he was challenged by what he said and immediately said, no, I believe our intelligence community. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. So let me give you the different parts of this conspiracy. So one is that everyone who believes in the conspiracy is saying that it came out of a lab in Wuhan rather than through food at a market. Okay. And then the conspiracy theorists split into two. One says that it was man-made on purpose. And the other says, no, it wasn't man-made. The Chinese were studying it, and then a person in their lab contracted it and then went outside and spread it to other humans. Now, it's unclear which of those conspiracy theories Pompeo ascribes to, because he said both during that interview. And I don't think that he miscommunicated it. I don't think he accidentally said that it was in a lab. That it was man-made, because if you watch the whole segment, the context was Pompeo starting with the theory, this came out of a Wuhan lab, the Chinese labs are terrible, and the Chinese did this, okay? So, well, when you see things along those lines, you're at a minimum implying that they did it on purpose. So when then challenged on that, because the people saying it's man-made, that's been pretty much completely debunked. The scientists say, no, when you look at its genetic makeup and when you look at, the science behind it, it has not been altered. So it is not man-made. It is natural. So since that has been proven also by by our own agencies, then when challenged on it, Pompeo goes, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. I wanted to blame the Chinese Communist Party because of a memo that we told you about last week on the show. The Republican leadership, the RNC, put out a memo saying, whenever you're asked about coronavirus, blame the Chinese Communist Party in that language, right? So he's having his cake and eating it too, spreading conspiracy theories so people can start hating the Chinese. And when challenged on it, going, I guess our intelligence disagrees. Who cares? Yeah, I'll say both.
So that Republican memo specifically said, do not defend the Trump administration's handling of the coronavirus. Instead, make China the boogeyman, right? Because this is, in my opinion, an admission by the RNC that the Trump administration has completely mishandled the response to this crisis. And it's better to just deflect and focus on China to make the Chinese out to be the bad guys, so some of the blame can be taken off of Trump's plate. But Trump is the person who is responsible for the handling of this virus in this country. He had been warned over and over again, beginning in January, regarding the seriousness of this virus. He was fully aware of the seriousness of this virus. He was warned multiple times in intelligence briefings and by his own advisors, and he still refused to do a damn thing about it. So what this is really about is an attempt to deflect and to place the blame on, whoever. And in this case, they're going to go ahead and blame the Chinese, right? So again, don't let them do that, because Trump went from saying that we would have 0 cases of coronavirus today to now admitting that he is expecting at least 100,000 deaths as a result of the virus. And we've already lost more than 65,000 Americans due to this pandemic. And it could have been prevented if we had a competent president, a competent leader who actually listened to advisors and did the right thing. Trump did not do the right thing, because at the end of the day, the only thing this guy cares about is his own pocketbook, his own finances, and using the office of the president to enrich himself. That's it.
So real quick, the last 2 things on this is that whenever you hear Chinese communist government, that's coming from the memo, and that's a ploy to do propaganda and brainwash you. And you could see it definitively, because Trump earlier in this crisis kept complimenting the Chinese government and never called them the Chinese communist government, because he was trying to do a trade deal with them. TYT Investigates has a brilliant video of him for 3 minutes straight saying how great the Chinese are and how he trusts them with this coronavirus. So now they're turning around and saying communist every time, Chinese communist government, because they want to demonize them. And they know it's racial. In the memo, they say, when you are attacked for being racist, because they know it is racist, do this, this, and this. So that's one element of it. The second element of it is, look, guys, I know there's a million conspiracy theories now, and I want to be clear. I don't automatically trust any government, certainly not the Chinese government. So, I don't dismiss out of hand that it didn't necessarily have the origin story that the Chinese government told us. But when the scientists say they looked at the genetic code and the chemistry of it, and it is not man-made, that's the best evidence we have to go on. So that part of it appears to clearly be a conspiracy theory, and it's disturbing but not unusual that the Trump administration would push it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.